am 39 years old and I'm about to turn 40 in a little over 7 months, and I'm really freaking out about it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if this is every person's experience when they get to this milestone age, but last night I woke up with a lot of anxiety and just this overwhelming feeling that like I'm so behind in life. And there's also this like grief that comes with it as well, because I'm not married and I don't have children, which are two things that I want and have wanted for a while. And I guess it just feels like there's this grief of like that may not happen for me in this lifetime, and that makes me feel really sad. I'm not childless by choice. I respect people that do decide that children aren't something that they want, and I understand that, but I guess I just feel there's just a lot of incoming grief. I feel like I've also just been so burnt out by men, especially in the last 2 years. And it's like, everybody says it, I'm no exception, but dating life is rough out there. And I'm having a really hard time making peace with where I'm at in my life and my age, and having to get to a point where I accept that like maybe I'm not going to get the things that I thought I was going to get in this life.
Yeah, and that's a very realistic reality, and it sucks. I honestly believe that this is going to be a major issue for a lot of women within the next 10 years. From now until the next 10 years, I'm telling you, you're gonna hear so many stories like this that it's just going to be another pandemic of some sort. Now, let me ask you guys a question relating to this. And maybe this could be a solution. Why do we still prioritize in our universities liberal arts, gender studies, and degrees like marketing and things that obviously are completely useless in today's society, but not one school for etiquette? I'm talking about a university, not one. Not one institution dedicated to teaching women how to be women. Let's be real. We need it. We don't need more degrees that push women further away from marriage, motherhood, and purpose. We don't. And let's be clear, this didn't happen by accident. This is all by design. In my opinion, it started with the baby boomer generation. I'm 52, so I'm only going to speak from experience. They were told, first generation, right? The first generation told that femininity was a trap, that being a wife and a mother was settling. I remember hearing this, and that real success meant becoming a man in heels of some sort. So instead of teaching their daughters how to be feminine, they passed down feminist ideology. Now, Generation X, millennials, and Gen Z women, they're all left without any blueprint for femininity. It doesn't exist. They've been taught how to build a brand, a career, but not how to build a marriage. They know how to express themselves, but not how to control their emotions. They know how to attract attention, but not how to keep a man's respect. And it's not entirely their fault. In my opinion, their parents failed them. Their mothers failed them. They weren't raised by feminine women. They were raised by women who were programmed to compete with men and not partner with them. That's the root of the crisis that we're in today. And the only way out is to rebuild from the ground up. We've got a generation of men who checked out, and she's feeling the brunt of it. More than 60% of young men are single, and many of them prefer it that way. Ask your sons why. And they'll tell you because they don't see modern women as marriage material anymore. They don't. And men, honestly, they've changed a lot too over the years. Today's men don't believe that they can survive without two incomes, which is insane. That mindset, in my opinion, weakened their drive. It's made them less motivated to grind and sacrifice and have that leadership mentality. Men used to work more than just one job back in the day. Whether it be delivering newspapers, working in a factory at night, driving a cab, whatever it was, whatever it took to keep their families afloat. But today, they're delaying marriage all the way up into their 40s and 50s. Not because they don't want it, but because they've been convinced that they can't afford it. In my opinion, we have a spending problem, to be honest with you. We don't have a money problem. We have a cultural problem. And here's the solution. Here's what I wanted to say. We need to build a women-only university for etiquette. Not some overpriced finishing school teaching women pairing wines and fake sophistication. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about like a 5-week course. No, I'm talking about a real college, a real university. Let's make it a master's degree. 6 years. I'm talking about real training for women who want to be wives and mothers. Women who understand that being a wife is a role that must be learned and not assumed. In these schools, how I see it, women will learn how to set a proper table. Some of you don't even know how to do that. A lot of you don't know how to do that. How to use the correct utensils for every course. You guys don't know. You guys know nothing about that life. How to speak with grace and listen with intention. How to cook, not just rice and beans and pasta and all that, not just basic meals, but like chef trained to feed an entire family. That's what I'm talking about. How to clean a home, with a sense of pride and not resentment because you know your husband is out there getting the bag. How to raise your children with structure, affection, discipline. These kids today are wild, crashing out all over the place. How to dress with class, carry themselves like women who value respect over attention. How to handle conflict without turning masculine like that. How to support a man's leadership without losing their own voice. Now, I know the feminists in the back are going nuts, and I know what you guys are going to say, that this is regressive. No, in my opinion, it's corrective. I think what's truly regressive is a generation of women who think marriage is oppression. But corporate burnout is somehow liberation. I know what you're going to say. It's promoting patriarchy. And absolutely, you damn right it is. Because patriarchy built stable homes, raised, protected children, and created order. You guys call it control. I call it structure. I know you guys are going to be like, oh, this limits women's potential. No, it doesn't. It actually expands it. How? Well, because a woman trained in etiquette and family values can still choose to pursue a career if she wants to. Children are in school. They're gone for the majority of the day. You guys can get a stay-at-home job, whatever. You can still do it. But a woman trained for career purposes only with that mindset, more than likely you're going to fail. Look at the stats. The stats speak for itself. Marriage is insane. Marriage divorce rates are insane. This isn't limiting women. This is making them whole. Now, for those that are like, oh, it's sexist, it's exclusionary. Yes, it is. It's not for everybody. It's not for every woman. It's for women who want to prioritize being a wife, prioritize being a mother, and the rest of you guys, keep your degrees. We don't need you. Keep your hookups and your independence. Enjoy it alone. Because this culture lied to you, told you that all the time, told you guys had all the time in the world. That's what they told you. They told you that success was climbing the corporate ladder, not building a home. Stay away from that. Then they hit their late 30s, right? And reality hits harder than the truth ever could. In my opinion, I think these universities are needed, but they won't save everyone. A lot of women are already cooked. They can't be reached with logic, and they're too gone. They're too far gone with pride. But for the women who want more, for the young women who are ready to learn, who still believe in this thing we call love and family and legacy. In my opinion, this is how we get there. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a great idea. What say you? You agree, disagree? Leave it in the comments. Of course, I'll see you on the next one.